Alrighty, we're going to continue the Jeff Bagwell conversation. And what did Framber Valdez do that he promised he was going to do a long, long time ago? We'll talk about that and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can they find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Stros411 at Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
Alrighty, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, keep on subscribing, keep on giving us a thumbs up, keep on liking us, and keep on listening to us on the way to work, on the way home from work, or at work. Wherever you listen to us, just listen on Odyssey, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to your podcast. Just keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast. So we want to go ahead and like the holiday season is about giving back and just doing stuff for others. And that's just something that Framber Valdez wanted to kind of do. And this is somebody who's had his up and downs in his career. And we all know that Mike Trout said that he had some of the best stuff in baseball. Once he learns to harness it, he's going to be really good. But when he was 14, he began attending a church and he said that this in the Dominican Republic. And he said that, you know what, one day when I become a professional baseball player, I'm going to go ahead and build a church. So I believe this is, I don't know how many years later, but he actually fulfilled this off season. And this is something that's, I know is pretty good for not just him, but for the Dominican Republic, this little community. And he said, I always ask God to continue helping me and blessing me. And in return, I would build a church in the Gully Canes for Pastor Antonio. And he said that for MLB PA in a Spanish language interview. So what else you got?
Well, so this is 14 years later because he's 28. So 14 years later, he's making good on a promise. A place, a house of worship and a body of believers that basically apparently invested their life in, and that this holds great value to Framber Valdez. It's always amazing to see these athletes, especially when they come from humble beginnings, Eric, to be willing to give back and to be willing to do so much for their community. He is helping to lay the foundation for a 1,500 square foot structure that will hold approximately 50 parishioners. So this is something that this church has not had. And like you said, he wanted to fulfill his promise. And in a quote, in that interview, he said, I don't get emotional because a community praises me. I get emotional because it's me who is doing this. I'm getting to complete a dream very few people have the opportunity to do. He has put roughly $100,000 into this project, and he cares more about fulfilling his promise he made years ago than anything. This is a guy, Eric, that has really become one of the up and coming faces of this franchise. His fire on the mound, Eric, we remember the key moment with Carlos Correa in the playoffs in 2020 against the Rays when Carlos Correa got in his grill and said, don't let him throw you off your game. And he bared down and he showed true grit, and they ended up winning that game. To a pitcher, like you said, that's had ups and downs, but he hasn't forgotten where he's come from. He's the type of player that is a Houston Astro. And if I can attach this to it, with all the negativity that is thrown at this team and that you and I have talked about ad nauseum for the last year and a half since the whole scandal came out, this team continues to make waves off the field in positive ways. We talked about Bregman, Lance McCullers. We know what he does. Jose Altuve. I mean, all these players, Correa, all these guys get involved in the community. And it's great to see the young players to go back home and to give to the families, to those that mean so much. And if you're a person of faith like he is, that is something that you can just really thank God for. Really, really cool story to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And so it's good for him to do this. And it's always good for people who have become successful to actually come back and make a difference in their community. So I know a lot of people, I'm sure Carlos Correa has gone back to do that. I'm sure somebody like Jose Altuve has done that as well. So we'll see what happens with this in the future. And he said he hopes that it gets done before the new year. So we'll see what happens overall. But we hope that he becomes this ace that he showed at glimpses at times, because he showed that he has this potential. Then there's a lot of whispers. Well, once they started cracking down on the whole foreign substances, he kind of lost his control, his command. So maybe was he benefiting from that command issue? So we'll have to
Yeah,
see what happened there.
right. And I think almost every pitcher was, Eric. I think that was just a common thing. And I honestly believe that Major League Baseball had a major misstep in the way they handled it. I think they should have waited until the offseason. I think they should have said, okay, there are 2 or 3 substances you can use. Anything beyond that, if we determine it's illegal, you're done. You've got a suspension. But I mean, we even saw a guy, not even to really get into it too deep, but we even saw, I forget which White Sox pitcher it was, had rosin on his arm and he got tossed for that. And it was like, but you placed the rosin bag on the pitching mound. But to go back to Framber Valdez, I still think that he is one of our best, one of our brightest young pitchers that we have. I know I say young and I know he's 28, but he's really just getting started on his career, Eric. And I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think his ceiling is high. I mean, think about it. You got him, you got Luis Garcia, you got Jose Urquidy. These Latin ball players just bring so much personality and fire and character to this team.
Yeah, for sure. And this kind of reminds you of like the staff we had in the past. And it kind of brings me back to a discussion we had yesterday with the Jose Lima, the Shane Reynolds, and the Randy Johnson. And it kind of goes back to a discussion we had in yesterday's podcast of Jeff Bagwell. And so we were intrigued about what players were actually on all-star teams over Jeff Bagwell, because Jeff Bagwell only made the all-star team 4 times. So we actually looked it up, and the 1995 All-Star team, who was at first base instead of Jeff Bagwell? It was Mark Grace. He was the backup, and Fred McGriff, old crime dog, as they called him. He was the starter. So I guess you can't get that wrong. I believe that at least Fred McGriff, I think he made the Hall of Fame. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Fred McGriff is in there yet. He is one of those guys that is on the bubble. And I don't even know if he is. Um,
But he was a
yeah,
good ball player. It doesn't matter if he was in a Hall of Fame or not. But he was always a good first baseman. Mark Grace was kind of that. I don't want to call him a UES player, but he was one of those guys that always hit for a pretty good batting average and hit for like 20, maybe 25 home runs or something like that. But he just was a good all around player.
now, Fred McGriff is getting close, so he's still eligible to get voted in. He just like his very first vote in 2010 was like 21.5%. That's way short of the 75% required. But at the time, and like you said, I mean, this guy's totals, Eric, 2,490 hits, a career batting average of 284, 493 career home runs, 7 shy of 500, 1,550 runs batted in. So that is nothing to bat your eyes at, because he was definitely a very, very good player in his heyday.
Yeah, and I know that, and it's like we talked about yesterday. It was a popularity contest back then, and they
Yeah.
also looked at who were the good teams in baseball. Maybe the Astros didn't have the built lineup like the Built Bar team does. So let's talk about Built Bar.
So it's the new year. So that means New Year's resolutions. And why make a New Year's resolution that you can't keep? Well, here's one you can keep: get healthy, get fit, do it now. How do you do that? You do that with Built Bar. Built Bar is an amazing treat that tastes like a candy bar. It's wrapped in 100% chocolate. It's healthy for you. It's got 130 calories on average, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. That's right. This is packed with a punch. It gives you energy. It gives you that fire. If you are someone that's grand opening an HEB on the 29th, like Alex is, grab a Built Bar because you'll need it. If you're like Eric and you're running around with your kids, you're doing all kinds of crazy things, and you're just God knows where. Eric's this world traveler. He's grabbing Built Bars on the go. That's right. So Built Bar is the great thing to go into the new year with. Start your 2022 off correctly with healthy means, and he's got his Built Bar box right there on the screen. If you're watching, if you can't see it, you know that this is a decadent chocolate delight. Go to built.com and use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your first order. That's right, 15% off at built.com. Tell them HL Wheelhouse sent you.
Or the Locked On Astros podcast. And speaking of the Locked On Astros podcast, continue to making us your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, just wake up, roll over, and just kind of stretch, and open up YouTube and go ahead and watch us. Go and subscribe to us on YouTube, and go ahead and like us, and go ahead and listen to us, the audio version, on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Just listen to Locked On Astros podcast. Just make it happen, guys. So let's go ahead and look at the 1998 team. And so it was Mark McGwire. I believe that's a name you brought up yesterday. And Andres Galarraga. I guess we
Yes.
a lot of us kind of forget Andres Galarraga, how good this guy was as a
Yes.
baseball player.
No, yeah, I mean, honestly, Eric, off the top of my head, whenever I read his name for the first time, excuse me, going back over this roster, I remembered very, very quickly. This guy, Eric, was a huge hitter. He had, I mean, from 96, Eric, to 98, he hit 47, 41, and 44 home runs. He was hitting basically 100 RBIs or more for 1, 2, 3, 4 for 5 consecutive seasons. I believe that was
They
kind of
did it
around.
with the Rockies.
He did it with the Rockies, you're right. But and so when he went to the Braves in 2000, he had hit 28 home runs. And so that was kind of the big knock. Now, before that, early in his career, he hit 20
Well,
plus
well,
home runs.
well, he did 98. He did with the he did hit 44 with the Braves. I
Okay,
will give him
okay,
that.
okay. You're right. You're right. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. I misread that year. Yes, he was with the Rockies in '97 and '98, and that's when he went this All Star game. Popularity contest. Andres Galarraga, Mark McGwire. Those guys are gonna on the national stage. We know this are gonna win out. Craig Biggio was in a sweet spot that year because he had made the move to second. He was the best second baseman. I mean, the backup second baseman was Fernando Vina, who I don't even remember that guy. So that tells you what kind of spot Craig Biggio was in, where Bagwell was at a packed position. First base is always the power hitters, it seems like. And in their own right, they were good. Andres Galarraga was actually a very good defensive first baseman. But Bagwell, regardless of only four All-Star games, he's still one of the best to ever don an Astros uniform.
Yes. So let's go ahead and I'm looking up the first baseman from this year, and I'm curious to see how these numbers compare because these numbers are crazy what I'm reading about Andres Galarraga. But in 2000, Andres Galarraga actually was a replacement for Mark McGwire, who was selected to be the starter. So he started the 2000 All-Star game, and Todd Helton was a name I mentioned or you mentioned after
Right.
Larry Walker yesterday. But
Yeah, exactly. I corrected the record. Yeah.
yeah,
No,
I
you
know.
actually corrected me. I said Larry Walker for whatever reason. I thought I was thinking first, not the outfielder.
Right. So that's pretty good. Todd Helton was a good player. So I pulled up the stats from the first baseman and the Major League Baseball this year. The best first baseman in terms of RBIs this year was 117 RBIs for Jose Abreu. What happened?
Hmm.
The most home runs from a hitter was Vlad Guerrero with 48. Then Matt Olson with 39. I guess the home runs are there, but what's going on with
There.
the RBIs?
What do you think?
You think it was the steroids back then?
Oh yeah, steroids definitely. Yeah, the baseball was different. Yeah. Oh man, dude,
Oh,
you want to talk about
you
a
think
whole
it's
litany of
also the
issues?
grip, the
Yeah.
the
Well, I
foreign
mean,
substances?
I guess the grip would more help the pitch. Yeah. No, but I mean, if they had more grip and they were getting more rip on the ball, so grip it and rip it kind of thing. But basically, in those '90s, I mean, you look at Andres Galarraga's number. I mean, go back. Let's just pick Luis Gonzalez for the Astros. Remember, he had those years. He had like 50 home runs one year. I mean, come on, we all know these guys were juicing. I mean, it was just the era that we were in. The pitchers were doing it. The hitters were doing it. Major League Baseball didn't really give a flying flip because they almost lost the game because of the terrible lockout scab situation 94 95. It was a real big stain on the game. And you just look at those numbers. They're inflated for a reason, Eric. And you know the ball, they mess with the ball too much, man. I don't know. Did Major League Baseball always owned the company that makes the baseballs, or is that like a recent business transaction? I don't know.
I'm not sure, but I'm just amazed at Andres Galarraga's stats, and I'm looking at it again. He led in 1995, where he hit 31 home runs, 106 RBIs. He had the fewest strikeouts in baseball with 146. In 1996, he had 157. In 1997, he had 141. In 1998, he had 146.
Oh,
So
I know he was,
he
but
was crushing the ball.
here's what I'll always say about the steroid era is you still had to be able to hit the
Right.
ball. It they don't nobody concentrates on the guy that hit 208 and hit 9 home runs that used steroids or injected HGH or went on a cycle because nobody cared about that guy. Okay. Nobody talked about the pitcher that was like 5-11 with a 4.75 ERA. And I mean, because whether they use steroids or not, the bottom line is you still have to have this. The skill has to be there to build upon. You have to have a foundation to build a house. You can't just build a house on just straw or sand. You've got to have a solid foundation. And a lot of those athletes, a lot of them were aging. And again, I'll say it till the day I die. I don't have a problem with steroids in baseball. I don't have a problem at all with it. I just don't.
Right.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, with the amount of games they play, with their aging bodies, especially now with all the weight training they do, you've got to be able to recover. And if you've done any kind of workout routine or gone through any kind of regimen or trained for anything, weight training or bodybuilding or anything, you know that your body needs help recovering. And I don't see why certain things aren't allowed, you know?
Yeah, so going back to the All-Stars, that Bagwell was
Yeah.
denied, we're not gonna do all the seasons, but I just wanted to look at kinda his best seasons. In 2001, Todd Helton, of course, the Coors Field effect was the starter. Sean Casey and Ryan Klesko were elected the backups, and, you have to wonder if, that was the only time Ryan Klesko ever made the All-Star team. I looked up his stats, and that was by far his best season. He batted 286 with 30 home runs, 113 RBIs. He only struck out 89 times that season. But if you go back to Bagwell's stats, he had 39 home runs, 130 RBIs, uh, 288 batting average, and he stole 11 bases. And so you have to wonder if that had something to do with maybe they needed elective representative from the Padre team or something like that. So, or I don't know. Or
Well, I mean, again, I remember growing up and being a Bagwell fan and realizing that I don't know a whole lot of my friends that lived in other cities and other places that really talked a whole lot about Jeff Bagwell. I
right.
think it was a national recognition thing. I mean, BGO was obviously the most popular out of all the Killer Bees whenever that era was in play. The Astros, more hit the national stage when we would bring on guys like Randy Johnson. We had to bring on Carlos Beltran. Whenever we brought in big names like that, when we had Nolan Ryan, when we lost Nolan Ryan, things like that. But that seemed to be the only real attention that Houston really was kind of we were not really a major player in Major League Baseball outside of Houston. I mean,
Right.
I don't know that I'm remiss in saying that. I think that's a pretty accurate portrayal. And again, the popularity contest does reign supreme in the All-Star voting. Especially, I mean, back then, Eric, there was no limits. There was no like, go to this website, you can sign up, you can do 10 times a day, whatever, which I think is
What the
ridiculous now.
Royals did and what year was
Yeah,
that?
when they tried to get all the Astros and all the Royals on, I think it was the year after they won the World Series, which they didn't return to that success. Let's make that note.
The last player was Sean Casey, and he was only All Star 3 times, the mayor, and one of those times was in 2001. And he had a good batting average season, not his best batting average season, but he had 13 home runs, 89 RBIs, batted 310. So it was kind of weird to see him. He only struck out 63 times that year, so his OPS plus was only 108 that year. So it kind of opens your eyes when Jeff Bagwell's OPS plus was, where is it? 140. So it
Wait,
just it, it's whatever.
well, here's the thing. Let's look at this National League All Star team. Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Vlad Guerrero, Hall of Fame. Randy Johnson, Hall of Fame. Chipper Jones, Hall of Fame. Mike Piazza, Hall of Fame. Albert Pujols, going to be in the Hall of Fame. Kurt Schilling, bubble guy, controversy. Sammy Sosa won't go to the Hall of Fame, probably should be. Larry Walker, Hall of Fame. Billy Wagner should be Hall of Fame. I mean, Jimmy Rawlings on the bubble. I mean, all these guys, Eric. Mike Hampton, not a Hall of Famer, but gosh, he was an amazing player.
Right.
Lance Berkman, bubble Hall of Famer, won't ever make it. Moise Alou, bubble Hall of Famer, won't ever make it. But what a, I mean, even the guys like Brian Giles. I mean, this was a fun team. This was a fun team to watch, dude. And I mean, on the other side, Edgar Martinez. You didn't really have. I mean, you had A Rod, you had Ivan Rodriguez, Cal Ripken Jr. Hall of Famer, Ichiro. I mean, just Oh, hey, Mike Stanton, our friend Mike Stanton was with the Yankees, and he actually he was on that All Star team. So, you know what? We'll have to do that. We'll have to visit with him again and talk to him about his All Star game experiences and his postseason experiences. Share that perspective with us. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, wondering like if there's bet online back then, what are the odds of Jeff Bagwell making an all-star team? But I know it doesn't really matter. But back then, I guess Houston wasn't as big a market as it is now. But
Right.
it just seems like the Astros are more likely to make the all-star team now because they're more out there. But then again, who knows? So let's talk about BetOnline.ag.
So BetOnline as you cover the holiday season with props, odds, and lines more than ever before. Football continues to march through the college bowl season. If you watch the U of H Cougars take down their opponent today in the bowl game, that was a great game. They did a good job against Auburn. BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the sports action this season. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use a promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available in the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. So don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available. BetOnline, where the game starts.
All right, so I want to go and continue this game that we did yesterday. I actually had some fun, and you wanted to look at this list, and I said no. I want this to be a blind reaction from you. So let's go ahead and take a look at this now. So I want to say the team, and I want you to try to guess the highest salary, the biggest contract this team has ever offered anybody. Okay, you ready? All right, so so I'm not going to do any of the repeat teams. So let's go with the Brewers. You ready?
Highest paid salary for the Brewers,
Yes.
Ryan
He,
Braun.
no, but you're on the right track.
Hold on. Oh, okay. Christian Yelich.
Yes,
Okay.
7 years, 188 million, 188.5 million.
Okay.
Okay, the Braves.
The Braves' biggest contract. Would it be Ronald Acuna Jr.?
No, he's currently a free agent right now, looking for a team.
Oh, Freddie Freeman.
Yes. He
Oh,
signed a
okay.
8 years, $135 million contract. So
Okay.
imagine the long history of the Braves organization. Freddie Freeman is the biggest deal that they've offered, and they're not willing to offer him another deal. What about the Angels? Durr?
And Albert Pujols. Oh, I'm sorry,
No,
Mike
no.
Trout. Mike Trout.
Mike Trout. Yeah, 10
Yeah,
years,
sorry, Albert
360
Pujols.
million.
I'm like showing my age with the Albert Pujols contract.
Okay, you're not going to get this one. You ready?
Ready?
The A's.
The Oakland A's.
He played
The
third
hold,
base.
hold on. Played third base for the Oakland A's.
Yes.
Hold on.
And it's
Oh,
not a recent player.
oh my gosh. Give
And
me
think of me. My
Eric
name.
Chavez.
Yes.
Really? No.
6 years, $66 million.
No, that's the
Eh,
biggest contract they've ever given.
Yep. And that was back in 2004.
They are the Moneyball Kings.
Yes. Uh,
Billy Bean, you old joker, you.
all right. The Cardinals, a very historic and storied franchise. What's their biggest contract?
Mark McGuire?
Nope. Recent
No.
player.
Was it Nolan Arenado?
Nope. No, because he
Hold
signed
on.
with a different team.
Shoot. Hold on. Okay, give me, is it a position or a pitcher?
He's a very golden player.
Yadier Molina?
No. Think
Golden
of the
player.
name. Think of the name.
Golden. He's a golden player. Plays for the Cardinals.
Yes.
Goldschmidt. Paul
Yes.
Goldschmidt. Wow. I feel like one of my seventh graders.
That's fine. That's why I want to do blind reaction here. So
What was the
5
turning
years.
point of the text? Hey, what was the turning point of the text revolution? I don't know. It starts with an A. Get A-L. Alamo. That's kind of what I'm doing right now.
All right. The Mariners.
The Mariners, the biggest contract. Ooh, gosh.
He's their
Uh,
elder statesman. He's not there anymore, but
you're talking about the pitcher. The
no.
pitcher. You're talking about King Griffey Jr.?
Nope.
Felix Hernandez?
Nope.
No. Elder.
He was,
Okay, you said he's their elder statesman.
yeah, he was there for a while, and he plays the infield. Plays the same position Jose Altuve does.
Oh my God. Seager?
No.
I don't know Mariners.
Robinson Cano.
What the heck? Sorry, Seattle. I'm not familiar with your players.
10 years,
Good God.
$240 million.
I mean, I'm familiar with Robinson, but I don't. Whatever. Okay. See, this is why. See, hey,
this is fun. This is fun.
Just a disclaimer here. I was a little afraid going into this blindly. So
Okay.
Please give me a reprieve here.
The Yankees.
The Yankees. Oh my God, that was a jerk move. God, they've signed everybody to massive deals. It's got to be Garrett Cole.
Yes. Garrett Cole, 9 years, $324 million.
But I mean, with Garrett Cole out of there, wouldn't it be Stanton? Giancarlo Stanton?
Maybe. But speaking of which one was the Marlins' highest paid salary?
The Marlins' highest paid salary? Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
You
Are
just said it.
they? I just said it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Stanton.
Giancarlo. Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike Stanton.
Yeah. But
He
that
was
was
Mike
in
Stanton.
2014. So he's
Right.
technically, I believe, still under the Marlins contract.
Yes.
So anyway, so let's go on to the White Sox, and he's a current player. He signed in 2019.
Oh, that's easy. Abreu.
No, he was a free agent. He played for the Dodgers before playing with the White Sox. He played against us in the World Series. Yasmani Grandal.
Oh, really? Wait.
4 years, $73 million.
No, that's their biggest.
Yep.
Okay, folks. Do you see why I didn't get that? Yasmani Grandal is like that's crazy. Sorry, I guess
That's why I wanted to do this. This is so surprising. Some of this is
Yeah.
so super surprising. The Pirates.
Oh, jeez. The Pirates.
He was a catcher. You know this guy. He's the only catcher you'll probably ever know from the Pirates. He signed this deal, and everybody's listening is probably like, "It's this guy! It's this guy!" He signed this deal in 2000. It was a 6-year deal. It's Jason Kendall.
I don't, dude. I collected baseball cards back then. I don't even remember Jason Kendall being. No, hold on. Between now and even then and now, he's the biggest contract they've
Yep.
ever signed.
The Pirates are they are the biggest penny pitchers, and
Okay, Pirates fans, hold on, Ethan. If Ethan from Locked On Pirates ever listens to this episode, I just want to say I have mad respect for you. I get your frustration now. Like, it makes sense. I'm gonna go straight to the DM for the Locked On host after this show, and I'm gonna tell Ethan that I genuinely feel bad for him. Like, I didn't realize they were that cheap.
Okay. All right. The Royals, speaking of cheapies.
The Royals. Oh, God.
He's a current player, and he's been around forever.
Is it Whit Merrifield?
No.
Oh, Salvador Perez?
Yes.
Okay.
The biggest deal in franchise history is 4 years, $82 million.
Well, there's not a whole lot of stuff in Kansas City. I mean,
Okay.
not a whole lot of resources.
And for the grand finale, until Carlos Correa signs with them, the Tigers. I'm joking with that, but
I was like, what? I thought you were going to say the Astros.
Oh, I guess we need to do the Cubs next too. But the
Man,
Miguel Cabrera, 8 years, $248 million.
You didn't even give me a chance.
Okay.
You didn't give me a chance to answer.
Okay. Well, what about the Cubs then?
Oh, of course you give me the Cubs. Like, who?
He played for outfield. He used to play for the Braves before that. He was supposed to be
Jason Hayward.
Yes, he was supposed to be the super stud, but he signed 8 years, $184 million.
That's right. That was a huge contract. Yeah, dude, he cashed in, didn't he?
Now, will Carlos Correa break that contract?
Eric, let's just talk about this for like 30 seconds, okay? I don't think I would be mad at Carlos Correa for going to Chicago, okay? But here's the thing. I just don't see why you wouldn't do what you can do to re-sign with the Astros, to keep winning, because your brothers are on this team, man. You don't have any connection to the Cubs. You don't have any connection to Chicago. Forget that place. Yeah, give me a high five, Carlos.
No, he's listening to you.
Oh, yeah, he's listening. So, Carlos, listen. Stay in Houston. Take the hometown discount. It's okay. It's all money. Guess what happens? He who dies with the most toys just dies. You don't win anything for it. So you can't take it with you. So just enjoy what you have, man. Raise Kylo in Houston. Kylo needs to play select ball in Houston. He needs to go to a Houston. I mean, think about it. Carlos Correa's son, Houston area high school player of the year. I mean, it sounds great, right? Right? I mean, come on. I'm trying to sell him on this.
All right. One team that I think is never going to do a long-term deal again is the Baltimore Orioles after signing Chris Davis to the 7-year, $161 million deal. They regretted that like season 2. They're like, yeah, this guy was supposed to be good.
He's like super Joey Gallo.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Keep on listening to us. Keep on making us your first listen. And if you got anything you want us to talk about, just go and shoot us a tweet, a message on Facebook or on Instagram. Just let us know what you want us to discuss over the off season. And go Astros, and we'll be back again tomorrow.